Hey guys, usually when I break down content costs, I'm talking directly to a client about the client's needs for the content because we went and did the audit and found out how many words, how many headers, how many paragraphs, and how many images they're going to need to rank for a certain keyword in a certain city. And then along with that, how many relevant keywords they need included in that to first to shore that up, and then also to make much better use of the page because it can rank for many combinations of keywords all throughout that topic, meaning all the different ways that people are doing the search in that area. So you want to spread the net wide to cover all the different ways people are searching in that area. So if you want to, if for instance, you're looking for a dentist in Miami, well, you better talk about dental implants, better talk about braces, better talk about Invisalign. Now, we could create pages for each topic individually, and that strategy, should we? Is that the point? Is there the budget? But when you want to show up for dentist in the first place, then your page probably needs to include all those things to be competitive, because Google sees that all the other Miami dentists are writing about those things in the pages, and that people are doing searches for dental implants, braces, Invisalign, while looking for a dentist. So these things add up. So you make sure to make very deep and penetrating use of the contents, but you have to write enough content. That brings us back to this. Why are our projects expensive? Most of what makes our projects expensive is not the domain names. You know, domain names are like 12 and a half bucks each. You know, if you get 100, that's 125 bucks or so. Storage on the servers isn't that bad. Creating the templates the way we do it, because we streamline everything, is not that bad, right? But content is king. You cannot create a very short single web page, put on the internet, and get it to rank for anything at all. Google wants to see a minimum of at least 5 pages in the menu. And even with that bare minimum of 5 pages, like you got your home page, contact us page, and you've got 3 inner pages about the topics. That just means it qualifies as a website, right? For these pages to actually work, each individual page had better be about something related, okay, which isn't going to be a problem, even if it was braces, dental implants, and Invisalign, right? But they need to be written in such a way that they compete with all the other websites out there that wrote for the same topics. So how is an audit done? It's done by looking at the top 10 ranking websites and subtracting things that doesn't relate directly, like Yelp, Wikipedia. We're not looking at those because they're different points, right? Somebody doing a search for what you're after, we need to do apples to apples comparison. So we take the top 10 guys who do what you're doing, okay? Who are up there for the keyword you want, okay? Who are getting all the traffic. And we figure out how many words each guy wrote on the page. Who's got the minimum number? Who's got the maximum number? And we compare it to the next 10 down to see if there is a vast change in that. If not, it gives us a little more elbow room here. But there usually is. What you find is the top 10 guys, there is a smart minimum amount of content required. And then if there's too much, it gets a little weird. So you might start to get off the main page, and the other guys who are competing, one of the things that they might be doing wrong, because there are several things to consider, but one of them that they could be doing wrong, is that they wrote too few words for the page or too many. There's such a thing as somebody with 7,000 words on the page, and when we check it for audit, we find they need to get rid of about 4,000 words. Now, that doesn't mean you have to lose 4,000 words of your work. Just cut it off that page, put it on a part 2 page or a page 2, another page. Make it about that. Maybe you want to take some of the stuff out and stick it over there in such a way that you're down to 3,000 words and you got 4,000 words over here. And maybe for that topic, 4,000 is great, or else it should be 2,500 words and 1,500 words or something like that. So you'd split the pages up, because otherwise you can't rank for anything. Okay, so the point though is, once we know the number of words, we also need to know how many paragraphs. We check that. We need to know how many headers, okay? Like if you're saying that there's 5 points to make, but your competitors are saying, not really, there's 8 points to make, and another one's saying, no, there's 9 points to make. Google's going to evaluate and go, wow, they're making 8 good points, they're making 9 good points. Your 5 points aren't enough. right? So we got to make sure to make enough points. That means enough headers and subheaders because the information had better be organized. If it's not organized in an outline fashion, then Google treats it less well. Pages that you want to sell off of and they just read coolly to a human are different than the pages that you consider doing SEO on. So your SEO pages are the ones that open up a topic and get people over, but then where you get them to, that page doesn't need to rank. That's the page or set of pages that you're using for the humans themselves so that you can excite them, create curiosity, need, greed, or fear, whatever it takes for your sell. But you need to also consider the marketing arm pages, the pages that can rank. Now, in our case, we realized we can marry the concept of websites and ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels are pages that cannot rank on their own. They're like landing pages. But they focus a human on one concept. And then when the human makes a decision on that concept, that takes them to a page 2 that says, great, you completed that step. Here's something else we suggest. Upsell, downsell, cross-sell, whatever it is. And then if they go to complete that, great, you completed that step. Here's something else we would suggest. Okay, so ClickFunnels are done that way. The problem, though, is you're hiding all those other pages. You're only focusing on one thing at a time. And it's only one page. So for Google, it's not even a website. All those hidden pages don't count because they're never really shown. The only page that's shown is the first page until somebody goes through and completes something, a transaction, a sign up, whatever it is that brings them to the secret page 2, so to speak, right? Okay, so what do I mean by we marry? I mean this. The idea really of ClickFunnels at its core is to put your attention on one specific thing at a time. It can either be something we want to show you first, and then we can show you something else, or we give you some basic simple choices and say pick, and when you pick, it's like, aha, here, it's what you want. So how does that work? We create web pages that can rank for the keywords, but they're huge. They've got videos, images, tons of content. It's a lot of stuff to read. It's a lot of stuff to wade through. You might get lost. You might not click the right click here button and go to the right place because you didn't make it that far. But we can have a pop-up form fade in nicely that repeats what you were searching for to remind you right away that you're in the right place. And that's in the header in the simple sentence below it that shores it up and makes that point that you are in the right place. So watch this cool video, could be like a minute-long video, and then fill out the simple form, or add your email, or call us now, or watch more videos like this one, or visit our site. And we said, what if there are a few actions like that? We learned how to take the first box and put 3 tabs on it. So it's got a default that opens right away. But then you've got 2 other tabs that you could click on. And they're named nicely. If you click on a tab, the whole thing shifts to whatever that is, right? So even on a mobile phone, that means we can show you 3 screens in one. You can click on a tab and it'll just switch to that tab. How cool is that? That could be intro video, sign up, watch more, and whatever they click on takes them right there. And then that continues their process at the level they wanted. And then your other box that you can have pop up, which is optional, you can have 1 or 2, also has the potential for 1, 2, or 3 tabs that you can name smartly. So on a mobile phone, it would be like that. It would be like just scrolling between 2 things. Now, can you close the page, close the pop-up and continue through the whole web page? Sure. But you probably wouldn't. That's the whole point. We're streamlining what you really want to do to this 1 or 2 pane thing. That's pretty cool, right? So with that in mind, we can draw your attention there. But the point of the copywriting cost is your right to rank for the organic keywords, so you don't have to pay-per-click, in order to give that ClickFunnels-like impression to the users so that you can just show up for all the keywords that they're searching for and offer them a very simple approach to continuation, which is strategy basis. What do you think is the best thing to do? For real estate agents, there are a few. Watch the intro video. See more real estate videos that help you understand what you're doing with buying or selling a home. Visit our site. fill out our form. Sign up with your email to be notified about new inventory. Browse the inventory. Things like that. Give us a call now. All these things, whatever they are, choose from them and stick them into the boxes. Could we make more tabs? Sure. Could we make more boxes? Sure. It's unlimited. Right now we got 3 and 3 because it's enough for most people's purposes. Pest control, what could pop up? A simple box with an intro video and a second box for call now. And the intro video can have 3 tabs. So one can be hotels, one can be restaurants, one can be nursing homes. That way, the nursing home guys go, that's exactly what I was looking for. And the video will be, hi, we understand that you're a nursing home. You have lots of residents. We don't want to cause a stir. We don't want to scare anybody. So we will be extremely discreet how we dress, how we act. We'll bring our equipment in what looks more like briefcases or cases rather than full regalia, Ghostbuster, gotta get the pest equipment. And we'll be very kind with everybody and patient, right? That's what somebody needs to know from a nursing home if they go to hire a pest control guy. What do you think the restaurant guy cares about? He doesn't have residents, but you could come after hours. What kind of a spray are you going to use? They want to stay in business, right? If they're doing pest control in a restaurant, they want to make sure that you're not going to put them out of business. And motels. Kind of like nursing homes have residents, right? So you have to be discreet. Park in the back, walk in, don't hop in front of line, don't stand on the side and say, hey, we're the pest control guys, stuff like that, right? So there are reasons always to micromanage yourself. What if you were selling weight loss pills? Then you could have, if you're sedentary and you're taking it just to burn fat while you sit at the computer, or if you're the runner, swimmer, rock climber type who needs to be able to keep up good muscle mass, lean muscle mass, while not putting on weight, or if you're the bodybuilder who's trying to totally build your weight up. See, these messages aren't the same. They are totally pitched to different demographics. And it's different whether you're male or female. A male runner doesn't want to take a pill meant for female runners, and he's not going to pay any attention if he lands on a page that shows female runners taking the pill, and vice versa. And those guys don't want to take a pill for big bodybuilder types if that's not the goal, right? And the people who are sedentary are trying to avoid the exercise in the first place. So the purpose of the tabs really helps streamline the sales right away. Okay, there you go. So I was talking about what the content's all about, and I want to cover that, and I'm going to cover that here because you got to rank to make all this stuff happen. I mean, the content's not even the point. Most people are never going to read the content that we create. The content is not for humans, it's for Google. Now, we want the content to count. It's got to be great quality. It's got to be readable. It has to be interesting. It has to be valuable. Okay? So that's going to bring us back to the costs. And that's where I'm going to walk through it right now, just so you understand it. Okay, so here are the costs to getting these big projects done. As you know, we make big projects. So say we're going to do 100 domains, and on each one of them, we're going to create 100 subdomains. That's 10,000 websites, really, because we're going through tons of different templates, images, combinational layouts, subdomain by subdomain, it's different. And then if we take that times 100 pages per subdomain, you're talking about a 1,000,000 page launch. And if we launch with a set of it and then add to it every month for the rest of the year, Google sees that climb up. That's awesome. Now, it's a 1,000,000 page launch, but it might just start with something like 20,000 pages and then crawl up every month until it hits 1,000,000. Okay, so that's cool. Google loves to see steady, consistent growth of websites. That's how you stay ranked at the top. And especially because you're growing, you're changing things on the website. How do we handle that without an insane cost? Well, that's the point. I want to break that down, and so I'll do it right now. Check this out. 2 cents per word is writing raw. It's a cost per word. I've had a lot of people say, well, yeah, but if you give them a whole lot of content, doesn't it mean you could charge them less per word? 2's as low as you can go. Have you ever seen a writer work? Even if you gave them something and they're supposed to rewrite through it, what's going to be the difficulty? The time, right? So they need to make a certain minimum amount of money per hour to justify. So if you say, hey, I'll give you a page to do, and I'll pay you 10 cents a word. How's that? They'll be like, oh, okay. So, but tell you what. Instead of giving you that 1,000 words for 10 bucks a word, or I'm sorry, 10 cents a word. So it'd be 100 bucks for 1,000 words. How about if I give you 2,500 words, but only for like a nickel a word? That's where they might think, okay, maybe, because it's like, I tell you what, 2,500 words. How about if I get 7 cents a word? It's like, okay, well, what about 5,000? I'll pay you a nickel a word. They're like, I don't know if I even like that deal so much, and then if you, but they might take it. Then you say, well, what about 10,000 words? I'll pay you 2 cents a word. You know what they're saying now? Go to hell. I mean, you sound like you're turning them into a slave. They're supposed to write for minimum wage for the next several months, right? So there's only so far down the ladder you can possibly go. Now, because we streamline like mad, we've gotten the price down to 2 cents a word. We know how to do that. We know how to make it easy on people. We've trained our people. They are really, really good at what they do. And we can get people to write for 2 cents a word where they're happy doing it, but that's it. That's as low as we can go. Okay? 2 cents a word. Do not think that's expensive. Go look anywhere. On content companies where the editors are charging, most people turn down 5 cents a word. Okay? The way you explain it is, no, I'm going to give you a copy of that writing. I just want you to rewrite it unplagiarized. Just totally rewrite that your own way. And it's like, okay, I can kind of live with that. Otherwise, they want more. Okay. 2 cents a word writing raw is as low as probably anyone can go. I mean, we are good at this. I don't know anyone that can go lower the correct way. Okay. 2 cents a word for rearranging the output. It's not enough just to write. You have to write, you have to structure it all, get all the sentences in the right paragraphs, get all the thing laid out. And we have to do that because we're not just copying and writing, or it'd be 5 cents a word. Okay? So we have to actually go out of our way to do it this way, but it's 4 cents a word. So it's better. It's 20% off the cost of the write. It's as far as we can go down the ladder. Creating UTO variability. UTO is unlimited tier 1 content. It means content meant to be read for the industry that's totally readable by humans, and it is enough for Google to say, wow, this is a uniquely written web page. I haven't ever seen it before. I like what you got. Okay? So that's hard because we have to make it possible to create literally millions of web pages from it. So if we're going to do like 5 base pages, but we're going to create a million web page launch, that's 200,000 variations per page, you would think, except we have to get further down this list. But there you go. I mean, to create the variability throughout the sentences properly, it's 15 cents a word. Not so crazy after all. Then we got 1 more cent per word because it's not really per word, it's per stack of content, but it would come to about 1 cent a word because there's a lot of work involved. We have to convert that writing, which was done on Word documents and text documents, we have to convert that stuff to Excel VARSheet format and the pages format for our pages in our system so we have variability of pages. That takes some effort, but still, it's about 1 cent a word in the long run. So what have we got here? About 20 cents a word to create not just the one written page, but to create an unlimited number of variations of that pages, literally thousands. Okay, you could say millions, but there are limits to going millions. Okay, now, what is included? Alternate storylines. That's cool. Why? Because as we're going to talk about down here, we're going to produce variations. As we produce the variations, it means we're making different stacks of original content. Some of those topics can be different, and that way when we mix and match content onto the websites, we have different items in the menu. It's not always the same 5 things. It's not always the same 5 dental things. It's not always the same 5 pest control things. It's not always the same 5 pill weight loss thing. It's different. So Google doesn't see the same exact format on every single site that comes out. We don't want that. Okay, so it can't be that all the page topics are the same all the time. So alternate storylines, when we do big jobs, allow us to create different sets of content. So then that's going to emulate the way humans write. When they're creating their sites, they're not all focused on the same base things. They're focused on a different combination of those things in their industry, in their subset, whatever it is. Okay, I think that makes sense, right? Alternate storylines. That way the menus of the websites can have different links in them, different page contents. Okay, content manipulation. Content manipulation allows us to do something really, really important. When we create variation content, we create variable content. It can't just be that the words change. We actually need the number of headers to change, the number of paragraphs to change, the number of subheaders to change, whether images show up between those, whether videos show up between those, how they're aligned in a way that looks good, center or to the right or to the left, depending on. So we need content manipulation. That way, even the headers on the pages are not the same number or the same purpose. That way, even the paragraph splits on the pages are not, it's not the same number of paragraphs on every single page. Now, you might say, Dave, didn't you say for an audit, you have to have a minimum number of headers and a maximum? You have to have a minimum number of paragraphs and a maximum. Have to have a minimum number of words and a maximum. Same thing with images. And the answer is yes. We're creating all the pages within that band. Some will go outside of the band rather automatically, just because we're creating all the variations. But that's totally fine. Point is, we're doing this massive launch, and a bunch of these sites are going to refer to each other. And what happens is this awesomeness of all these sites, the masters get pulled up because the slaves are paying obeisance to them. That's what backlinks actually do. They're saying, hey, go here. And then the slaves are getting pulled up by association for doing the work of linking out to good sites elsewhere. That's what Google wants to see. Internet traffic is like a superhighway through sites. It's just that we create all those world of sites in that area for all those concepts, and we do our own superhighway stuff through them in such a way that it's so intensely unique and so audited for the keyword values that Google has to rank lots of our stuff. And that's what I did when I showed for a qualified search how we took up the top 100 results incognito for the keyword. We're that good. It's like armor when it comes to taking over for the ranking positions for projects that are backed well enough to do them right. Okay. Backlink mastery. Backlink mastery is cool because that's another thing that Google could catch as a footprint. So far, we're erasing all our footprints. Alternating storylines erase the combinations of pages being the same footprint. Content manipulation erases that versions of the same page across the subdomains and across the websites look the same to Google because they have the same headers, the same header purposes, the same number of paragraphs, same number of images or videos. No, they're all different. So they feel like they're written by different people as well as read differently. And then we have backlink mastery. We even realized that another footprint would be, what if there's a backlink at the end of the third sentence on every page? It wouldn't matter if the third sentence is in the same paragraph or not. And so we developed backlink mastery to overcome that. So our backlinks appear in different places in the sentences around different places where the keywords would be or the main points would be. So they're always smartly used. But what it means is, but also a backlinking profile is composed of exact match keywords, keywords in context, generic use keywords like visit this site, click here, whatever, and then versions of the domain name. So we make sure that even the formats of those elements of the backlinking profile are not always the same. You could have the end of the third sentence or the beginning of the first one or the beginning of the fifth one is where the link appears. And it could be around an exact keyword or a keyword in context. And or it could be around a generic phrase. There could be a general phrase there, generic phrase. And it could even be just an exact use of the domain name, right? Which is easier to control and much less often used, so we don't need to do it much. But when we do it, we make sure it makes sense in the sentence. There's like sentence, blah, 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 click here, there's the link, right? So we do all, and the link could be https://www dot, whatever it is, or http://www dot, or https:// whatever it is, without the www or HTTPS, both, all those cases. Okay. And we backlink deeper into the web pages than just the main pages when we can. So we get deep backlinking. It's all this really, really cool way of using millions of combinations, or in this case, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of combinations. Okay, there you go. Now that gives us 20 cents per word, and all that stuff happens, which again, it's insane that we can produce it at that cost. That's insane. It doesn't happen. All right. That's the cost per word to allow unlimited top ranking page copywriting variations. Now, why do we have to get to variations here? Well, part of it's to create alternating storylines, which, as you can see, this sets the stage for these, right? The more this happens, the more naturally different all this becomes, okay? But we discovered that one variation is only good for like 20 websites times 10,000 pages each. Right? That's like 200,000 pages. After that, it really loses a lot of value. Google quits indexing a lot of it because it goes, they are unique, but I've seen so many versions of this layout of the content before that all rank that well. They all deserve position 1 through 10. I can't put them all there, so I have to pick and choose. So even if Google's fine with the pages, it's still, there's only so many that Google's going to say these pages here, this 20,000 is about it, for the keyword out of this whole stack that are similar. Okay. So what do we need to do? Produce variations to continue. So if we want to do 100 websites, we got to do 5 variations of all of it. So that's why I say it's $1 cost per word, because however many words we had to start with, whatever made that possible, allowed us to create one version. But if we're going to create 5 versions, okay, then we're at $1 a word. Okay, there you go. So let's talk math right now. This is fun. Let's say we were going to do 9 pages onto the site, and the average number of words per page is 3,200. And again, don't kill the messenger. We don't just throw 3,200 in the air. When we audit, we figure out what it is min to max, and then we choose about 80% of the max. Okay, so from the min being here and the max being here, 10 fingers, we're going to say 80% of the number of words. Why? Because more people are getting more savvy about this. So over the course of time, they're adding more content to their pages. So they're going to start to catch up. Okay, so we may as well start most of the way to the top right now. We want to minimize the cost, so we don't want to go 100% of the way to the top. We just want to go 80% of the way to the top. But we might have to come back to those pages eventually and add some more contents because other people caught up. Whatever. We're 80% right now today on today's audit. It'll take a while for a bunch of other people to catch up. And we have a lot more going on with our websites that make them stronger anyway. So we just like it. So if we find that 3,200 words is the average, then we're ordering 28,800 words. Okay. Now, if we're going to do that, that's going to be a content cost of 28,800. Why do we say 9 pages? Because if we're going to put 5 pages on the website, but we want alternating storylines, we need 4 alternate pages to mix and match through the menu. Because we'll only use 5 pages in every menu, but instead of this page, it's going to use that one. Or, instead of that page also, it's going to use that one. Okay, so that we got mix and match versions of the menus. Does that make sense? Okay, so we got 20,800 words we got to order. That would be a total content, because it's $1 a word for 5 variations, is $28,800. Okay, this is the cost of ranking organically if you're going for 9 pages times 3,200 words per page. And you might think, wow, what a cost, that's insane. But let's step back and see what $28,800 is going to do for you. If we're going to create 100 websites that are outfitted with the content, and we're going to create 100 subdomains per website, that's 100 times 100, that's 10,000. And yes, all these subdomains cycle through totally different templates. which is awesome. It creates layers of variability so that if the main template was doomed not to rank for a certain keyword because it's too similar to something that already exists, Google can choose one of the subdomains because those templates are different, and yet they're focused on the same points. They're trying to compete for the same keyword stacks in all the different cities, but they're so different that Google can say, I'll choose one of those because it's cool and it's different enough. So there you go, power. So there's 10,000 combinations times 100 pages each. There's our million page launch, 100 pages for every subdomain. Needs to be uniquely written, complete with content manipulation, with backlink mastery, with alternating storylines. It needs to happen to make all this work. Okay? Million total pages being outfitted with the content. We are going to write 1,000,000 pages that are worthy of the audit for front page rank. Let that sink in. You're going to pay copywriters to write 1,000,000 pages that are an average of 3,200 words long that are going to come out right. 1,000,000 pages. Okay? And you're going to do it for a cost of less than 3 cents. Okay? Just to make the point. Right? Less than 3 cents per finalized page for audited top quality content that's written to rank. Less than 3 cents per page. Okay? Wow. And then guess what we're going to do? For the whole year, we're going to have our first month plus 11 monthly refreshes of all the contents. Why? So that Google sees variability happen on all the pages, refreshing, updates. So the pages don't sit stagnant. You never set and forget websites. You got to refresh the pages about once a month. In other words, you should do something new with the page about once a month. So what do? We just rewrite through it, but keep it on the same everything. It's the same city, same main keyword, same set of up to 80 relevant keywords that work together with the main keyword in such a way that Google says, wow, they're trying different pitches for these things, but they're there, they're live. Okay, now what? That gives us if you do the math, right, it's in this case 3,200,000 words of readable / refresh contents for the project launch. And then over the year, if you add the first month and the refreshes, it's 38,400,000,000 words of content that got bought for $28,800. How's that? I mean, it's enough content for the nation. You're literally paying once to create enough content and refreshable content to cover the nation in your industry with unique pages for every city times every keyword on all these different templates. What's not to love? Google has to basically fit pages. They qualify, they're top ranking, they're top quality, they're fast, everything about them is great. They're on Amazon servers in the cloud, hosted local to the regions where the people are. And what's not to like? So this comes to something like a point, not 10 cents or 1 cent or a tenth of a cent or a hundredth of a cent, but 750 thousandths of a cent. Okay? So your cost per word at this economy of scale for the full year. For example, with 4 zeros and a 4, you're talking about 1/250th of a penny, okay? Per optimized word. 250 words cost 1 penny. 2,500 words costs a dime. Insane. And that would be there, and we're here. So a competitor's cost to produce the same outputs through copywriters at 5 cents a word to try to do the pages manually. That many pages that we're going to do, which is really 1,000,000 pages times 12 refreshes is 12 million pages, right? That's the whole thing. They're going to do that at 5 cents a word times 3,200 words on average. Then they're going to spend $1,920,000 collectively if they're going to make the same thing happen. Okay? Now they're not going to do that, are they? So let's say that an average competitor pays that much for the first month, $6,500. And he's going to have to pay that much every month to keep rewriting through all the contents to make it powerful enough to stay ranking organically against his competitors. So it's going to come out to 78,000. Okay. Crazy, huh? Reality check is probably going to be more because he's probably going to have to add some more contents here and there, but it won't hurt. It's just, it'll probably be more like 80K. So if you're saying 78,000 to 80,000, competing with your 28,800, and that's just competing with one average competitor, you know what you're really competing with nationwide? You're competing with 24,615 competitors, 24,600 who spend that much money each per year. That's what you're competing with. That's how powerful the production is at this level of cost. So I'm just explaining the reason for the costs. This is obviously not the full cost of the production or the full cost of the website at this level if it's done this well, but because you have the rest. You've got the hosting, you've got the domains, you've got the templates. But this is by far the most expensive part of it. And this is the reason that the expenses of the templates get so high. Because you can go this far. Now, if you just say, I want to start cheaper, I need to. We can just do 20 websites. So instead of paying $1 per word, you're paying 20 cents per word. And you're only going to pay for 20 websites. The hosting, the domain names, and templates and stuff, right? So even if it's still got to be 3,200 words at that level, you can take this and divide it by 5. What would that be? 28,800 divided by 5. This would be like your kickoff. Whoops. Okay, 28,800 divided by 5, right? 5,760, okay? And that would give you content for 20 websites, no alternate storylines, okay? So everything's going to work within that realm. Okay, we can still do 100 subdomains per site. We can still do 100 pages per subdomain. So it's 10,000 times 20 is 200,000. 200,000 pages. Okay, so all the rest of this stuff applies, but it would be applying on 200,000 pages instead of 1,000,000 pages. So still, it's extremely cool, right? Okay, just letting you know, you can start anywhere, you can grow from there. Give me a call. Let's talk through your project, your goals, how far you want to go, which topics are the most important. We'll do audits and figure out how many words we need and how many pages we need. And do you know what? Again, even this, I said 28,800 and that's for 9 pages. If you have to cut it down still, we can come down to 5 pages. So if you had something like 5 pages, say, let's just do the math there real quick, right? And let's say the average really came out to more like 2,800 words per page, right? Then it would be, instead of that, it would be a fifth of this, right? Because now it's 14,000 divided by 5, right? Yeah, 2,800. So it's 2,800 bucks. We'll cover you for 5 pages times 2,800 words per page, right? Because instead of going with this, you'd be going with that. All right, just letting you know what's possible and how to make things work at your level. Okay, get a hold of me. We'll discuss.